So we welcome in Rob Reese from NHL.com and the NHL Fantasy on Ice podcast with Pete Jensen and Rob Reese. Thanks for joining us. Not a lot of time, but a lot to talk about really quick. So playoffs or play-in qualifiers start tomorrow. That's pretty exciting. Great to have hockey back. So what would you say? We're looking at kind of a few odds here. What can you say is probably your favorite value pick for probably a team that is not in the that's not playing for seeding, but is actually playing for a play-in spot?
Oh, so yeah, if you're talking qualifiers, I mean, and I just have to preface by saying, guys, that this is probably hockey's unpredictable, right? But this is with this format, it is probably the most unpredictable. But if you want value in the qualifying round, I think there's no better team to put money on than the Minnesota Wild. The reason I say that is I'm not a big Wild guy. I don't think they're going to blow you away by the way they play. They're not going to score a lot of goals. It's not going to be very pretty. But the odds, I mean, you got to think that they could actually advance against the Vancouver Canucks and then maybe make a little run beyond that. The second value play I would tee up for you guys, no one's going to like this pick, but it's the Montreal Canadiens. Like, there's literally no better value out there, no bigger money to be made than on the Habs.
Sure. I love that. As a Blackhawks fan, Cody's a Blues fan. So as the resident Blackhawks fan here, I'm so disappointed that you didn't say the Blackhawks. But I think I was actually listening to NHL Fantasy on Ice when I think you guys were having this discussion that the Blackhawks are in such a tough spot playing against Edmonton when everybody thinks of Edmonton as this like playoff failure in the past, and they are such a different team now. They actually have that depth in the third and fourth lines, and they actually have a decent goaltending pair, enough to at least propel them past a struggling team like Chicago, especially when you have McDavid and Draisaitl at the top. Are there teams that you think that a lot of people are going to hop on right now or going into tomorrow that you would say that it's crucial to avoid these teams?
I don't know. I think, and this goes back to, I guess, what we were saying about Chicago on the episode. Like, yeah, Edmonton's a bad draw for them any way you slice it and dice it. But in this format, like 5-game series are going to be played different ways. I mean, take the top 2 D pairings for the Blackhawks. Like, again, not very solid. Keith is getting up there in age now. He might have lost a step physically in his game. But in a 5-game series, like, you can play these guys 25 minutes a night. Like, Duncan Keith is still 25 years old. The same thing with lines 1 and 2 with Taves on line 1 and Kane on line 2, if you can even call it that. You can play those guys 21 minutes per night each line. So to me, it's like, I really don't think, as much as I think Edmonton could sweep this Chicago Blackhawks team, and I know you're a Blackhawks guy, so you don't want to hear that, but like, sure. You have to say, to be fair, like in a 5-game series, like there's really no telling what could happen. Corey Crawford being healthy now is a great sign for the Hawks. And hey, can you really count out a team that has gone on deep run after deep run after deep run? I don't think so. So I think this is the one format, you guys, where I'd like to be bullish. I'd like to be, contrarian here, but I really don't think that there's a team that I would count out in this format.
Sure. I have one more quick question, and I'll let Cody ask anything that he has after, but this is more of like a fill in the blank. Coming out of this long pause, the team that does blank has the best chance of just kind of taking everybody by surprise.
Ooh, yeah. See, I think, and I, again, like, I think in this format, you kind of, for me, I'm like, I kind of want experience, but I'll answer the question with a little bit more flair. And I'll say, if the Toronto Maple Leafs get through the Columbus Blue Jackets, they will go to the Eastern Conference Final. Why do I say that? And you can't put too much stock into one exhibition game, but look at how this team is structured now. They went out and got Kyle Clifford. They have guys on the back end now like Jake Muzzin. They have Ilya Mikheyev up front, who's a great name for any sleepers out there, or DFS if you guys play that as well. Like, that team is now more defensively sound than they have been in years past. That team is now more physical than they have been at years past. Before, they just had Nazem Kadri running around out there hoping to take on a Tom Wilson or hoping to shut down a Brad Marchand. Now you've got literally 3 or 4 different guys that can play that role, that can be that physical style. And I think that team is poised to make a little bit of a run if they can find a way to get past John Tortorella.
Love it.
Love that. And, be respectful of your time here. Is there last question. Is there, if you had to put your money on one team to win the cup, which direction are you going?
Tough one.
All right, well, I'll tee you guys up on this too, because I think the more opinions on this format, the better. But for me, like, I've been debating between two matchups. And I think, you know what I think too, I'll say this, it's probably a good time to come together after the qualifying and round robin as well, and then kind of dial in the pick.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get a futures bet in now, there's two matches I'm looking at that I like a lot. One is Colorado versus Tampa Bay. I've never been a Tampa Bay guy ever, but I just think that there's something a little bit different about this team this year. The other matchup that I'm very much intrigued by is Vegas-Washington in a rematch of 2 seasons ago. The reason why I like Washington, as long as John Carlson's 100% healthy, this team is going to blow you out of the rink, whether Tom Wilson's banging you through the boards or Ovi's cashing in from the office. Like, this team can flat out play. They've got Kovalchuk now, who I think is hungry to win a Stanley Cup in the National Hockey League. And then on the other side with Vegas, the only reason that I'm a little shy on Vegas now is because of their goaltending situation. I love Robin Lehner as a backup, but Marc-Andre Fleury's got to be your guy. I'm all for, the changing of the guard, if you will, but Marc-Andre Fleury, time in and time out, has made huge saves for the Pittsburgh Penguins on their deep runs. He was fantastic in 2017-18 when they advanced to the Stanley Cup final. I think he's got to be your guy. So that's my only reason why I'm fading them slightly at this point. But those are my two matchups. I want to hear who you guys like too.
Vegas is actually a team that I had written down because of my love of Marc-Andre Fleury, especially in the situation right now that we're in. A team that it kind of depends. You're exactly right. It's something that you really have to readdress after this qualifying round. But I kind of have this love for Calgary right now. But it is really dependent on how it's really dependent on how they do with Winnipeg.
Yeah. If they can get past Connor Hellebuck, I mean, that's going to
sure.
that's the thing. That's going to give them the confidence where I agree. Gaudreau's going to find a new level. Monahan's going to find a new level. But I am worried about that team, candidly.
Yeah.
But you're going to get good value there if you put a futures on it.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, 10-1, I'll take the defending champs, the team with the most.
Yeah, of course. Of course you will.
I'll take my Blues. I'll take that. And
what's funny too, last thing I'll say is, like, in fairness to the Blues, like, why is no one talking about the Blues anymore? Like, did everyone forget about the Blues? Like, the team is, like, honestly, it's almost the exact same team as last year, but everyone's got another year of experience. Zach Sanford's the top 6 guy now. The younger guys are scoring goals now. Like, I don't understand. And Tarasenko's fully healthy. I don't understand why no one's talking about the Blues.
Yeah, it's a Bruins and Lightning playoff is really what we're entering. So thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. I know that you didn't have a lot of time, and we really do appreciate it. Rob Reese from NHL.com and the NHL Fantasy on Ice podcast.
Good to be with you guys. Take care, and let's definitely reevaluate where we're at after this crazy qualifying round.